Hey guys, this is my latest MOC, which I originally built as an entry for TJ the Brickwright's resistance bomber contest, but since then I did some changes to the Proton torpedo reload mechanism here on the front, which I couldn't really finish before entering the contest, but I think I got it working right now. I'll start off with the designing process and then I'll show you all the details and functions, and I also included timestamps so you can skip forward if you want to. The designing of the bomber took me almost as long as building the ship itself, because I had so many designs and I couldn't decide which one to take. But in the end I chose this design, which is a bit influenced by modern day stealth bombers. And I also wanted my bomber to have these angled wings. And I connected them to the middle with hinge plates on the inside. And even though the wings are pretty heavy, they don't bend down too much. The placement of the cockpit and the ion cannon on the other side was influenced by the B-wing, which actually has a huge advantage for the resistance. They don't have many pilots, and so safety should be a priority for them. And with the cockpit being placed further away from the middle, where all the explosives are stored, the chance of survival for those two pilots will be much higher. But unlike on normal stealth bombers, I didn't want the whole ship to look too flat, so I made the wings a bit thicker, and I also added a bulkier middle section, which creates a more Star Wars-like look, in my opinion. As already mentioned, the pilots have a much higher chance of surviving over here, not only because they are further away from the bomb loads in the middle, but also because the whole capsule that they are sitting in can be detached like an escape pod. In situations where their ship is about to blow up, for example, they can just ditch their ship before they are going to crash and possibly die. And it also got small engines on the back, so they can fly away to be rescued later on. Moving along, there are deflector shields on both sides of the ship, as well as in the middle, to protect the ship, especially from the front and the bottom, where it's most likely to get hit by defensive AA fire. And additionally to that, the middle section has another layer of armor on top, because it's carrying all the munitions and the engines, so it's protected better. And these are actually air intakes to cool the inside. As far as the armament goes, this bomber actually features a lot. There is a triple laser turret on top of here, which I thought was quite cool because you didn't see that very often in Star Wars. And there's also 4 other laser guns on the front, and a giant ion cannon over here to disrupt the enemy's electronic systems. But this wasn't everything yet. There is also a Proton torpedo launcher here at the front. And now by opening this flap right here and removing the ammunitions belt with this section attached, you can reload it, and it will hold up to 5 rounds. And now when you put it back in there, you will have to stretch the rubber band so the ammunitions belt will automatically advance every time you shoot a new round. And now by removing this piece and putting in this assembly right here, you can turn it, and then the launcher will fire 5 proton torpedoes out of the front. Anyways, there's another 2 cool mechanisms to show you. For this one I had to put the bomber on this improvised stand so you can get a better view at it. If you take this tool right here again and remove the axle connector on top, you can put it into this hole right here, and then if you turn it, the landing gear on the bottom will retract. And this works for both sides. And if you turn it into the other direction again, the landing gear will come out again. So this is the landing gear mechanism. The second hole is for the drop mechanism of the main armament of this bomber, which are Proton rockets. But first you'll have to reload the rocket magazines by opening those flaps on both sides. Now every magazine can hold up to 15 rockets, and my idea was that one side carries rockets that are better for piercing through thick armor, like on Star Destroyers, and the other one would then carry something like highly explosive rockets that are better suited for attacking larger areas like landing platforms, for example. And now, after having reloaded, you could close off those hatches again, but I won't do it because the rockets on the inside tend to get stuck sometimes, so you have to help with pushing them in a bit. Now if you turn this piece right here, the bombs should drop, or the rockets should drop out of the bottom of the ship, if everything is working right. Yeah, and now they get stuck in there, and I have to help with pushing them out a bit. Yeah, so that was it. I know the mechanism isn't fully working, but it's the best I could come up with in the given time for the contest. Yeah. And now, after the rockets are dropped out of the ship, I imagine them to fall away for a few seconds before they start to fly, so they are in a safe distance to the ship. So yeah, that was the rocket drop mechanism. Now moving towards the back, there are the main engines with a big heat vent in between. And over here there are some decoys that I imagine to shoot little projectiles to deflect pursuing missiles from enemy fighters, for example. And lastly, as always, I also included refueling hatches on both sides to be able to refuel the fuel tanks inside the wing so the bomber can get on a new mission. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It would be great if you leave some thoughts about the bomber and the video in the comments. Have a great weekend, everybody, and see you next time.